Hello and welcome to No CB, a grand strategy podcast. I am your host, TJ Hafer. And with me, as usual, is our amazing panel, including Rose.
Hello.
Including Lambert.
Hello there.
And including Father Loris.
What's up? Hello.
Who apparently has given Lambert the plague through the magic of Welsh internet, which I think it really is literally a series of tubes, right?
Well, no, it's
works.
more like carrier sheep mainly. So what we
Okay,
have to do is
gotcha.
basically we have to put like data packages on like nearby sheep that roam past, and hopefully it goes.
Is that
No,
why
it's a-
your internet is so slow? Because the sheep get waylaid a few times?
Quite a lot, yeah. Sadly, it's a public service, though, isn't it? So you can't complain.
Wonderful.
Publicly owned sheep.
yeah.
A moving
Oh.
brothel.
People's sheep. So it took us 9 episodes to make a Welsh sheep joke.
Look, I've been holding back this entire time. As an Englishman, it was very
Yeah.
difficult to not take
We-
the piss out of the Welsh for this long.
We
yeah.
admire
I'm glad
your
I rectified the
restraint.
situation.
Yeah, we
I'm
admire
glad I
your
rectified the
restraint,
situation,
yeah.
though.
Okay.
I think 90% of English culture is making fun of Welsh sheep jokes, pretty much.
Oh, no.
Isn't there? Is it?
There's
is it
at
that?
least 30% is taking the piss out of the
Scottish.
Scots as well.
Yeah.
So let me know, tell me if this is actually true or if this is just like a myth. But isn't there a city in the Marches somewhere? I don't know if it's like Bath or something where there's still a law in the
Hereford.
books
Yeah.
that you're
Where you
allowed
can-
to shoot a Welshman with a bow if they're within the city reach of the city after
Yeah, I think it's
nightfall
a-
or something.
I think it's a crossbow, and it has to be inside, like Hereford Cathedral or something silly like that. It has
Okay.
gotten rid of, and basically, if you do that, you're going to get done for murder.
Yeah.
'cause the murder laws overwrite that law.
You're not in violation of civic ordinances, but you are in violation of like the UK
of the law. Yeah,
Yeah, like criminal code. Yeah.
yeah.
There's a similar one. I think it's in. I don't remember if it's a law in Denmark about Swedes or if it's a law in Sweden about Denmark. But it's that if it's on one of those little coastal towns, and if the Storabelt freezes over, I think it's if Danes cross into Sweden, you're allowed to beat them with a stick until they leave. Like if they cross the
that
ice
rings bells.
into Sweden. It might be the other way around. It might be if a Swede crosses the ice into Shelland.
I bet
Yeah,
half
could
of
be
these laws
both.
are made up because, like, maybe some like magistrate's like cousin or something, or like
Yeah.
son did this horrific thing, and the magistrate goes, "Let's just change the law a little bit. Okay, it's legal in this specific circumstance."
Wow. Okay.
Oh, man.
It's
Yeah,
the
old
Swedes,
laws are great.
is what chat says.
It's Swedes, is it?
It's if Swedes cross the ice or the Swedes are allowed to do it.
Oh man, it's either way, it's completely justified in my opinion.
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
yeah, of course.
Of course. I
well,
see.
If you do have silly laws in your domain and you want to get them changed, one thing that could help you do that is the new diplomacy lifestyle in
Oh,
Crusader
nice.
Kings
Oh,
3.
that
we got
segue
last-
was
That's a good
smooth.
segue. Yeah, it's cool.
See, I actually listened to like every episode of the podcast over again this past weekend, and I'm like, okay, what can I improve? Well, having transitions at all instead of just saying, well, there you go, on to the next topic, is definitely something I think I can improve on. Yeah,
A+,
so
gold star.
yeah, thank you. We got to look at the diplomacy education for CK3. There's a foreign affairs focus, which is the classic, just flat bonus to the stat in question. Majesty gives you a +1 to diplomacy and +1 prestige per month. And then family, which is +2 diplomacy and +25% fertility. What do you guys think about this one? Do you have a favorite focus in this tree?
Oh, I mean, like
go-
it's
it's gotta be
exactly
family.
this. Yeah,
Yeah, family.
I mean, the
family's
friend
just always
thing is
OP,
just so good.
especially if you're trying to really build your dynasty to last there in the early stages of the game.
Well, this is what I really
Yeah.
like about this. It's like every single tree is OP, which is great. It's really, really nice. it makes it, a very difficult choice to pick.
For sure.
There's just things about this tree being, a bit OP is, well, having friends gives you, some more skill points, and having children gives you some more skill points. And 100%, we're going to see Spiffing Brit make a video about his 99 character because he's got all of the Europe as his friends. It's going to be a thing.
100%.
The friendship, the family focus is perfectly balanced and has no exploits whatsoever. Calling it now.
100%. Yeah.
Well, I think that it's about time that Crusader Kings embraced the true magic of friendship. Hearts of Iron already has the Equestria mod, so they're just making a
Glitterhoof is literally a character in CK2. What are you on about?
Yeah, there you go. Alliances too. You can get extra diplomacy skill from alliances, from having friends, from having kids. It seems like you're just going to be able to stack stats. So,
I love it. I love the idea of getting the stats from friends, because you develop a sort of very complicated, friend group that you're trying to expand at all times, but most friends will not like each other, and you'll be falling out with some friends and making new friends. It just you dedicate all your time to being super carouser.
You grow so large, and then you realize that one of your best friends has now inherited the county that you want to take, so you have to go and stab him in the back and go to war against him.
Yeah.
It's okay. But if you make all of your children your friends, you're going to be getting so many. I mean, imagine you finish out your family tree, the family lifestyle tree, and then you go into seduction and you just fornicate everybody. You're going to have so many kids. Tons of kids, and it's just going to boost it's so powerful.
But you have to live long enough.
And then you have kids with your kids, and then, it's just an exponential...
And then you torture your kids for more skills.
Some CK2 is already such a messed up game, and they've just created so many new opportunities for us to be even worse people. It's amazing.
They do have to be kids that people know are your kids, so they can't be secret bastards. But you know what? Everyone's your friend. No one's going to give a shit if you've got a bunch of bastards.
No. I hope they keep the, being fat as being part of being a jolly matriarch, because I always love that idea of being like a big, fat, friendly Father Christmas type character. Like, all your family love you,
What do you guys think about having the befriend scheme be a perk? Because I'm a little bit disappointed. I think that you don't have the sway and antagonize available to everyone, but on the other hand, it is the first perk in the tree. You don't really have to commit to diplomacy for very long to get it.
No, and it is kind of powerful that you're focusing all your attention on befriending someone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I quite like it.
I'm okay with it. I just find it hilarious that it's a scheme, and it's
That's
like
that's
I'm
how I like to
rubbing
think
my hands
about-
together, scheming to make you my friend.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, see, you don't really
That's how you
care
make
about
friends,
being
isn't it?
friends. You want them to think you're your friend.
Cats,
Basically,
I
to
can't
make
sing. I'm
friends.
sick.
You go down a pub and you get all the other members in the pub to like scheme together to try and befriend somebody in the pub. That's how you do it. You hide in a corner and then you go and make a friend. That's how it works.
Pretty much.
Who
What
looks
I will
the
say is,
loneliest?
what I will say is, I liked this Div Diary a lot more than the previous one, because the previous one was a lot of here's a modifier and here's just some numbers that boost this by this much. This is a lot more. You get mechanics and you get interesting things out of these perks.
Yeah.
It's just so much more interesting of a tree that I think I'll enjoy playing with more than just some modifiers.
And it's more like interpersonal stuff too, which I think is like CK2's major strength, really.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It leans into what
Well-
CK is good at.
Right. Like I think that's kind of why diplomacy and intrigue are so cool, because they're very tied into what makes CK2 special compared to other strategy games, whereas stewardship, learning, and we haven't seen Marshall yet, but I'm kind of guessing it's going to be in that second category where it's like these focus on areas that other games also do really well already that aren't specifically like Crusader Kings to the max, hardcore to the mega, internally coherent. That's a little Disco Elysium nod there that like 4 people in chat will get.
Oh man, it's
but yeah,
definitely if you don't get that, buy Disco Elysium. It's the best game that came out last year. So good, so good.
Yeah,
I've heard.
This also seems like it's going to be the Conqueror's choice. I mean, again, we haven't seen Marshall yet, but look at this: 75 claim fabrication speed bonus, Ducal Conquest Casus Belli, Vassalize Casus Belli, shorter truces, and no prestige penalty for breaking them. Those 4 together are just like, you get a war, and you get a war, everybody gets a war.
I hope they use the tooltip within a tooltip thing to tell you what those Casus Bellis are. So, it's like highlights in blue. They've got the system of tooltips within tooltips. So
they specifically called out the Ducal Conquest lets you go to war to seize counties required to create an as yet uncreated duchy. So if the duchy already exists, that won't apply. But if you start as a count, it'll work that way. And I'm presumably, if you conquer one county that is part of a duchy that doesn't exist, you'll be able to use it in that case as well.
Well,
So
in the intrigue
use
focus,
it one time, and you've just bought it as a focus, that seems a little bit of a waste.
Right.
Well, if there is a if the duchy already exists and you're beneath it, then you want to be going down the intrigue lifestyle, because there was something about fabricating claims on your overlord.
Right.
So,
yes, yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
here we
that'll-
only have the fabricating claims on county speed plus 75%.
Right, which they have said it's not going to be like an automatic thing like it is in EU4 and Imperator, where like you just fill up a bar and you get a claim, but it is going to be less random in that you're going to fill up a bar and then something will happen. There will be some kind of an event, and it might not guarantee you the claim, but it might give you the claim. It might let you trade some sort of a resource to get the claim, or, it might give you something else that will help you in the future to get that claim next time the event comes up. So it'll be less random than CK2.
Paying like a corrupt,
Right.
person to fabricate it, or maybe like a monk, you have to pay a certain amount of piety, and then they might like say that, actually, in the Chronicles, historically, your dynasty may have owned this or something like that,
Yeah, or I could see it being something like, your chancellor comes to you and says, okay, I can make the claim happen now, but it's going to let the target know that we're doing it, or I can lay low and look for a better opportunity. Like something like that, I think would make a lot of sense as well. Monthly prestige per dread, very cool. It could be scarier based on how prestigious you are. That's perfect for a Viking playstyle. Highly thematically appropriate. Prestige for the number of knights in your service. Like all of this is making me want to do a Viking game. I mean, I'm TJ. I was already going to do a Viking.
I was about to say.
Doing one. I mean, who doesn't love doing a Viking game anyway?
Yeah,
I wonder if it changes. Like, does a knight count like a Huskarl? Is that
I'm
technically a knight or something?
I'm assuming the word knight will be localized based on your culture.
Yeah.
Like that's my assumption.
I mean,
yeah.
Like if you're playing Rome, having literal Praetorians would make more sense as a part of a Praetorian guard, right?
How many Varangians have you got?
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Oh, that would be
but
fantastic.
do we know it's going to be in the game from the start, or will it be something that they patch in later? I hope it's in the game from the start.
I don't know. I hope so too.
Yeah.
One other major thing I wanted to call out once again: no CB cast making the world a better place. They seem to have fixed the sausage fingers. As you can
They
see,
haven't.
That makes it worse.
They look significantly less sausage-like. They're still kind of weird, but you can see the joints. There's more definition. There's more variation in the width and texture of the fingers. They don't just look like these big bulbous,
they're kind of like
things
morphing into each other. Unless you zoom in, you can't really tell that his fingers are like on separate hands.
So the fingers could still use work, but they are no longer what I would describe as sausage fingers.
They still got a bit Nosferatu-y look about them, don't they? Sort of long.
Once again, that is directly because of this podcast.
Of course.
Yeah, naturally.
Only because
I
of
was
us.
going to say, while you're zoomed in on that image, the guy in red, he looks how I feel. And look at that face. He is so tired.
Well, if you've got this like scheming friar or whatever that's always following you around.
So it's about composing an epic, and we've got this friar over here like, yes, I will compose an epic for you, and everyone will love it. Or they'll die.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, he's
I'm going to
probably
reflect. Like it's going to be. You're going to come out glowingly. You're a wonderful ruler. You know.
Oh God.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So yeah, you can get a family epic. They also showed us some of the events you can get, opportunities for slightly unusual ways of getting to know people, which I think is going to be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And no new game info.
Now this will be interesting. It's got a thing here about
this great illustration. Yeah.
Visiting a court, so what I really hope for is, when you're on a journey, say you're going on a you're going on Hajj or whatever, you get a regent and you're out of your court physically,
Mm-hmm.
I hope that when you're visiting other people's courts now, it's the same sort of process. You go on a journey and you're actually in their court for a little while, and then you come back to your court. Because I always thought that was a little bit janky.
That would be really cool.
When you're off carousing or something, you don't actually leave your court. You're still in your court, but maybe you're drinking alone, just in the spirit of other people.
Yeah.
I hope you physically enter and leave courts in the same way that
I always saw. Yes, I suppose if someone invites you to carousing, because I always saw it's carousing as like, I'm having a party, come to my place.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if they're on the other side of the bloody country.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can get eaten when you go carousing. I had that happen to
Wait, you can
a
do
guy
what,
in a
sorry?
Byzantine playthrough. He went to a party and with a cannibal. He never came home.
It sounds like a good time.
Oh my god, it's like that Fallout New Vegas party,
Yeah,
spoilers if you haven't played Fallout New Vegas by now.
Oh yeah, if you look really tasty, you do need to be careful what kinds of social engagements you go to. I mean, that's just common sense.
Make sure you've got the skinny trait before you go anywhere, basically.
Yeah. I also want to say directly as an effect of this podcast and for zero other reasons whatsoever, if you look at the outfits now, they don't look like shiny garbage bags anymore.
I wanted to say, I think it's all to do with the color of the reflection. Because in this,
I think
he's in a golden room, sort of warm light, and the reflection is very warm. So I think that I love that so much.
It looks more like silk
what it looks like to me
than instead of plastic.
Yeah, it looks like they've put like a little bit more of a matte base layer, and then they show you that this guy is super rich by having the shinier patterned embroidery on top of it, instead of just being the richer you are, the shinier you are, which is what the old Dev Diary.
Well, that's more realistic, is it not?
Yeah.
Hey,
I've been told that the sun shines out of Jeff Bezos's ass. So I don't know about you, but is that not realistic? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
when you get to a certain wealth, you just look like Balthazar Gelt and turn into like pure gold.
I can say that I've never been close enough to Jeff Bezos's ass to confirm or deny that. But
you're missing out. You're missing out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not an ass that I would like to kiss.
They would never let me within 100 yards of Jeff Bezos. Have you read my Twitter?
Well, you need a welding mask at least to like gaze upon it.
Okay,
That's how shiny it is. Yeah.
You do get
Fair
fairly
enough.
controversial in your Twitter sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't we all?
You can
That's what Twitter's
say
for.
that I'm not a. You could say that I'm not a fan of rich people. You could say that.
Unless it's
anyway,
me and I'm playing CK2 and I've got all of the wealth,
Right.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, exactly. I
Fuck
don't.
the poor
Yeah,
in CK.
I don't like autocracy unless I can be the autocrat, and then I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anything else about this dev diary before we take a look at what's been going on in EU4?
I think before we jump into the dev diaries, we did do a poll last week.
Oh yeah, I was gonna start the show with that. Thank you for reminding me. Do you want to send me that link real quick so I can pull up the results on, or you might have already posted it in Discord.
Look, regardless of the results, we all know I'm right, so we don't need to even look at the results because I'm right, and you're all insane if you disagree with me.
Here,
All right, let's just remind
I have
everyone.
devs on my side, not
So
all
I'm-
of them, but
I
I have the
advocate-
important ones on my side.
Here, this should
For-
give you the
for edge
results to
scrolling,
share. on
right?
the
Clearly,
stream.
Cats is not one of them.
Here, I think I've
Who's
got.
There you
WSD now?
That should be. If
Here,
you
What's
check
our
the
teams
room.
before we check? Lambert, what do you advocate? Oh, hold
Oh,
on.
I advocate scroll wheel, click and drag.
Look at that! Look at that! We have got a podcast filled with cultured people. Edge of a map scrolling. Round 4 victory.
I think we should have
Aw,
just.
thanks, Menace.
This was a bad idea. We should have just canceled the poll.
Oh my goodness! I'm just
here,
glad
let me-
we've got
oh,
so
here, I'll be-
many.
What's actually interesting is
We'll
how
find the comic
close
version.
Wassid and Scroll Wheel were. Because at 463 votes, Wassid was
better.
winning. And then we got 3 more
Right,
votes
so-
over the last 24 hours, and now Scroll Wheel pulled ahead of Wassid.
Scroll wheel, click and drag is just the best, though.
Oh, it's
And edge of the
not.
map scrolling, I think we can all agree, is like the worst kind.
No, it's
Oh, wait,
it's the
oh
most
my
popular.
god. Scroll
The
wheel,
people-
click and drag came in second place.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That
Yes!
changed. That was
Was get wrecked.
that changed with the last 3 votes. But look,
I
all those
say-
The
Wassid
last
people
3
went and
voters,
voted for Edge
I
of the
love
Map
you.
scrolling.
Edge of a map scroller. It's the best way of doing it. Who plays with the second
here-
hand? The second
here's
hand,
the-
right, is for like sipping a cup of tea, eating grapes, like when you play with one
think-
hand, right? I mean, like,
Here's the thing. I think edge scrolling is perfectly fine as long as you know you're a bad person and you're okay with it.
See, and here's
It's-
me and
it's
Imperator
more
turning edge
cultured.
scrolling off, which I
far more
love that that's
cultured.
in that game.
you play it with one hand, and like say you're playing CK2, you play with like a glass of wine in one hand, and you swirl the glass of wine as you plan your Machiavellian schemes
You know,
around the world. You know,
Middle mouse click and
do.
drag is also one-handed, just so your entire argument here is falling apart.
oh no, well, it's the wrong type of one-handed.
And there
It's
was no
clearly
zoom
not.
out, zoom in option because I don't think any of us thought that someone used that as their primary.
Well,
Well, we
see-
should have done
see-
because
We should
Northern
have done.
Lion exists.
It does.
See,
Yes.
Loris, I'm gonna say that's kind of a plebeian answer because if you're truly decadent, you have slaves to pour the wine into your mouth while you're playing.
You play with
You
no
don't-
hands
yeah.
if you're a real,
Yeah,
if you're a
exactly.
real magician.
Play
Yeah,
this
you
game
don't-
for me,
you sh-
peasants.
You swirl your own wine. Come on. Yeah.
I've got a dedicated wine swirler.
Yeah.
who's
Exactly.
separate to the wine pourer and the separate to the wine person who puts the wine in
Yeah.
my mouth. You know, it's a
I
3-man process.
I auditioned hundreds of peasants to see who could swirl the wine the right direction at the right speed, and only the best wine swirlers are welcome in my court. So
It's that middle ground. You don't want to swirl it too much, otherwise it comes out the glass, right? And if you underswirl, well, I mean,
Yeah.
you may as well not swirl at all if you underswirl. That's my opinion. It might be
Well-
controversial, but I put it out there.
Well, if you first swirl, you're gonna end up wearing it.
I don't even like wine. What the fuck you're on about?
Then pour
Well,
some grape
the-
juice
the
in a
people-
wine glass, and no one will know the difference.
so as you can see,
Don't be
the
swirling
people
my
of-
cider. Get the fizz.
the people have spoken. Edge of the map wins the poll. Doesn't matter. I'm the king. I say it's WASD. Moving on. So Europa Universalis 4. We got a new dev diary for that. We are finally getting an introduce heir button, which is cool. It lets you basically introduce a new heir to the court. If you're not in a regency, not at war, have positive prestige, and at least 90 legitimacy, which I think sounds very powerful. But most of the cases in which I would have really liked to have this button, I did not have positive prestige and at least 90 legitimacy. So I'm not sure how often it's going to come up. Because usually if there's a succession crisis, one of these two things is not true.
Well, it feels like
if your king is like
this to like boost your legitimacy, not lower it. That's because they have introduced an heir in CK2. If you have that, goal for your character,
yeah,
and it makes everyone like him. It makes him a stronger ruler. This, I don't know.
Well, I think the idea is that you don't have any kids of your own, and you're just picking some random person to be the heir. I think that's.
I think the new dynasty is going to be a local one. So
exactly, I think that's the main thing. And it's probably the main reason I won't be using this button because if I've got a lovely dynasty, say like Pelilogos or Romanov. You don't want to have some like local scrub come along and claim your wonderful dynasty. You want to keep it, right?
Well, I sure as shit wouldn't be using it when my king is 18 years old. If my king was 76 years old, then I'd be clicking that button on repeat until I can, get myself someone to take over. Because the Habsburgs are coming, and that chain ain't going nowhere near my court. Let's be
Plus,
fair.
if you look, this person's got a Rurovic, right? Which I think is how you pronounce it. I'm probably not sure. Why do you want to get rid of that dynasty? It's a cool dynasty. It's like a Viking dynasty.
Yeah, come on.
And he's 18. He's going to have the kids. Don't worry.
Exactly.
By the way, we already have factions forming in chat. Valorgain seems to be the leader of the revolt faction. KZ Guy stands with the king. Your loyalty will be rewarded once we put down this brushfire revolt.
What are you talking about? I'm with Valorgain.
I'm using the royal we here.
Well, yes, we know you're using the royal we because you said you're a king, but I reject your authority, sir.
All right, so the podcast is even divided, and this is likely to be a war that will be long and brutal. We also got some other little quality of life improvements for EU4. The discussion we had last week about why the Ottomans had a red border, it is from hovering over certain things will now highlight the country in question, which I like a lot.
Called it.
Yep. Core all provinces, really good, especially last night in our multiplayer game as Great Britain. I conquered the entire Congo in one war, and I would have really liked to have access to that button.
I will say, though, sometimes you have cores that cost no overextension. I would very much like to be able to, press control and then click that button, and it will ignore the ones that have no overextension cost.
That would be cool.
That's a good idea.
Or even it would core them from the top of the page going down, so you can sort by overextension, or you can sort by cost, something like that. And then if you click it, then it'll do from the top going down. I'd like to see that.
But this button might only be
maybe it already is.
Have
I don't
enough admin to core everything all at once.
Yeah, it's been a while since I read the podcast. The
read a podcast. That takes talent.
Does it say? Like what order priority it puts it in? Does it have a priority? Is it by cost, overextension?
I don't know. It does say it's going to, like in the tooltip at the bottom, it does say Nish and then Breneveco, but looking at the list, it's got Breneveco or Brenechevo first. So I don't know.
My guess would be that it'll probably be grayed out because you can't click the repay all loans button unless you have enough money to repay all of your loans.
I see. Okay.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that would be cool if they added just more ways to because I usually do it. I would like to do it from top down because the ones that cost the most usually give you the most overextension.
True. Unless they're like a territorial going into a full core.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
full coring something like Constantinople or Milan is just painful.
Yes.
That's expensive.
Yeah.
So something
and sometimes you'll be
being able to sort
automatically full coring them because you've already made that area into a state when you capture that last province.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unless it's the first one you take because you're foolish like me. Look, you can't have Constantinople. It's mine.
Side note, if you do find yourself in a position as a colonial empire to conquer the entire Congo in one war, might not be a great idea because there's lots of malaria. The supply limit's very low, and you might have like 50 years of independence revolts, which then leads to your people just getting really unhappy that you're putting all of your national resources trying to hold down this gigantic area of jungle for marginal economic benefits. I read like that somewhere. No personal experience necessarily.
It might be very marginal economic benefits, but if you have it, the French don't, and that's worth everything.
True, but I could have also just locked down the coasts to keep the French out.
Also true.
And then waited until Victoria II when it does become economically viable to exploit the Congo, as our friend Leopold demonstrated. So you can now look at your subject's mission screen, which is cool.
Now, the most interesting thing about this screenshot, Krugi being a flirtatious little tease that he is, the little icons at the top. Have you noticed? There's like a little green hat.
There's some new icons.
I don't think I've seen before. And there's a revolution icon.
The revolution icon we've seen in a previous dev diary. I don't. I mean that hat is the symbol for a republic, and it looks like there's either grapes or cannonballs
wine swirling. Something.
Grapes with a hat on. That's what it is.
They're preparing for the wine swirling.
That hat is what you make your wine swirler wear.
So this is the alert that grapes are about to come to power in your republic. I don't know. Yeah.
Now my prediction is something
the
to do
Ottomans
with
have the same
mercenaries.
icon too. If you scroll down to the next picture,
feels like a mercenary type thing. It's like a...
Interesting.
They're apparently using it's 2 new alerts, but they're using the wrong icons, so nothing to worry about yet, I guess.
There's no wine swirling from the merchant hats. Okay.
No.
Okay.
We're going to just claim that it is exactly that. Thanks, Agamede.
Yeah, exactly. So they've made it a little bit easier to figure out how much progress you have to achieve one of the requirements, which is really cool. This will definitely make sense if you've ever tried to mod EU4. Having these parameters will be very helpful. Mm-hmm. They've also made generals a little bit more like full characters, and that you can actually look at their age and they can die based on their age and things like that.
Which also changes when you make your monarch into a general.
Right. They've changed that so that, there's still a chance that your general can die in battle, but it's not quite as risky as it was previously, if I'm understanding that correctly.
Which is terrible if you've got an heir that you don't want.
Right.
Enrique is going to have to find a new strategy of dying.
Yes.
I still miss the days when you could just make them an admiral and put them on a boat and just send it off to sink in the middle of the Atlantic. That was a good time. Back before all heads of state and heirs had teleportation powers.
And generals, they can teleport too.
Yeah, they teleport too.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, Enrique, you're off to find Atlantis. It's at the deep.
Oh, it sank? Find it anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have
just hold your breath, Enrique.
Underwater? That's okay. You can hold your breath.
And he's so stupid, he won't even question it.
No, what they should do, they should let us do that again, but then there's like a 5% chance that 50 years later they will return at the head of an Atlantean armada and they're like the squid-faced guy from Pirates of the Caribbean 2. Like they've just become one with the sea, and they've come to reclaim their throne.
Is this now
sort of like
the
a
Sunset Invasion
or
the Underwater Invasion DLC coming for you for?
Yeah, come on.
You know what? I'm in favor of it. I mean, EU4 technically already has robots and bears. Yes. Why not Atlanteans? I mean, come on.
There's
Sunset Invasion. That's a good one.
There's an awesome mod for CK2 that's just the Targaryen invasion. It just adds Dragonstone off the coast of France, and you start as the Targaryens with their 3 dragons, and you can just invade the vanilla CK2 map.
Oh, God.
And that was one of my favorite CK2 games that I've ever played.
There was a time.
It's not compatible with the current patch, unfortunately, I don't think.
There was like an April Fool's Day thing. Now, this was before Game of Thrones for CK2 mods added Essos, and everyone was crying out to have Essos in the game. And for April Fools, they said, "Okay, we've added Essos," and released it. It was just Europe, slapped next to Westeros.
I'm with you there, Moa. I want to play that Targaryen one now too.
Yeah,
it's not compatible with the current patch, but I don't know. Maybe if we all politely ask the mod creator to update it, they will. Don't go harassing people, but maybe if we all ask politely.
Speaking of updated mods, though, just a small recommendation. After the End has been updated now to the recent version. Definitely recommend playing that if you haven't. It's very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, After the End has become my maybe not overall all-time favorite, but it's my current favorite way to play CK2.
Yeah.
So
I find like Americans, I don't understand anything about America. But I know Americans really love it because they know what Ohio is, and I don't know what Ohio is.
In a lot of ways,
it's how you say hello, isn't it? Ohio.
I think so.
In a lot of ways, it's like my dream fan fiction version of the United States more than it is realistic. Like the idea that like Minnesota would just like go back to worshiping the Norse gods after the apocalypse. I was like, hell yeah, that's super unrealistic, but hell yeah.
Isn't it also, it's not even based on the Vikings, it's based on like some football team you have called the Vikings or something?
Their football team is the Minnesota Vikings, yeah.
Oh my God.
But that's because there's it's the Dakotas and Minnesota are like the main areas of Scandinavian immigration in the US. I think it's like 15% or something like that of people there are of Scandinavian descent. So yeah. That's
there's a region around the lakes that is quite heavily
Great Lakes,
Finnish as well.
There's
quite a few Finnish words that have entered like the local dialect. I heard a great one recently. A guy on Reddit was saying that he was looking into his ancestry and he saw that his great grandmother had come over from Finland. And he's like, "Oh, is that why we always use this word for this particular body part that is rude? What's that? Oh, that's what that word means. Oh, yeah, we shouldn't say that one. No, it's the worst word in Finnish." And we're using it as the cutesy word for, we shouldn't do that anymore.
Well, don't forget Americans use the term fanny pack, which is hilarious to everyone in the UK.
Oh, yeah.
Although, in fairness, we call it a bum bag. Is that any better?
Yeah. I mean, the other one is a belly bag.
Yeah.
No, I mean, because
it doesn't have the same ring to it.
It doesn't have an alternate meaning in the UK. Like, fanny does not mean what Americans think it means.
Yeah, no, my uncle, who is American, married an Australian, and when she heard that we called those fanny packs, she was, like, horrified.
Fanny's like a name here, too. So...
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's just hilarious. Yeah, Fannie Mae, it's like a bank, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So this podcast is now banned in the Commonwealth realms. And let's move on.
I'll have a chat with the Queen. It'll be all right.
Thank you. Lambert, of course, knows.
Wait, we can't go on to. We can't go on to. Oh, yeah. There's more stuff for EU4 in the dev comments. In the dev comments, somebody asked Groogy if when you click on a dead nation's shields, you know, how it's seeing their cores, will it highlight the cores? He said no, he hasn't had time to implement it yet. and that's so unbelievably needed. Oh, I love that so much.
That's really awesome, actually. Yeah, I like that quite a bit.
Back a second to what's needed. Apparently, what's really needed is we need an Atlantis DLC for Imperator Rome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Sea Peoples, isn't it? That's what killed the Minoans.
That's what the second Sicily is.
The second of 20.
I think that's canonical at this point. Yeah, that the lost Sicily is Atlantis. Yeah. So, yeah.
I hope this the Dead Nation highlights when you're in the peace screen. So when you're about to release a nation, you can mouse over and it'll show.
Oh, where they're going to be. That would be helpful.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
Any last thoughts about E4 before we move on? They did change the Danish ideas. I'll show those for a second if you want to take a look at them. Because Denmark's ideas were.
I have an Icelandic friend who is really salty about that because he hates that Icelandic isn't a culture in EU4, and he's had light-hearted arguments with Groogy on Discord about it. He's like, give us Icelandic culture. No. Just straight up no.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to... it seems like by the 1400s it probably should be. 1300s, I could maybe argue that it wasn't super duper distinct yet, because that's when a lot of the sagas and stuff were well, even by then, I'd say around the 1300s is probably when Icelandic should become its own culture. But I don't know.
EU4 is a little bit janky with cultures anyway. There's a lot of things.
Yep.
For example, Welsh culture is in the British culture group, not Celtic. When I understand for gameplay reasons why that's the case, and it's all a bit.
Yeah. Ottomans are in the Levantine group.
Yeah. Aren't they they're Arabic, aren't they, or something?
Or no, they're
Arabian.
They're Turks. They're in the Arabian culture group.
That's it, yeah.
And not the Turkic culture group, which is a little bit odd, but so Hoi 4, they made some changes to the AI. Apparently Germany was having some trouble invading France because they would just go to war with the Low Countries, regardless of how well things were going currently in Poland. So that's been fixed, which is definitely helpful. They also have been making some improvements to how the AI deals with resistance, which is good. I mean, we didn't, we don't necessarily know how that's all going to play out yet. Anything in particular that stood out to anybody about this?
There's something that does concern me a little bit, and I don't think it's the case because I've seen screenshots already, but on that overnight gameplay thing, the color of Japan is not right. It's like a sort of baby blue.
Like a minty
color.
They
might have changed it to baby blue in game.
They might have just made it so that it's easier to see. They might have set debug colors for certain countries.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Germany's kind of green.
Well, look. The other thing is, look what happens here. I think it's toward the beginning of the GIF, but I believe what we're seeing. It's not this one. It's the next one that they show. So we'll have to wait for it to circle around real quick because I think they show two different playthroughs. Yeah. So in this graphic, it looks like what we're seeing is Poland invading and taking over the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Is what appeared to have happened there, which I've never seen happen ever. So that's
China taking a large chunk of Siberia.
Yeah.
I'd love to have someone who works full time on these nightly builds because there's loads of great stories come out of these things. Just on the podcast, pick their brains a bit and find out what the weirdest scenarios that keep happening on these nightly builds are.
They've changed operative recruitment to a timer, which I think is probably better than the previous way it was going to work. Mm-hmm. they've added a graphic so that you can see the outlook of a specific operation, which I really like. It tells you the risk of something bad happening, the risk of, I guess I would call it like a critical success. They call it a bonus outcome. And of course, we got finally confirmation that our friend Alan Turing is going to be in the game as a minister for the UK.
Mastermind as well. Absolutely deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we got a ton of changes to the Portugal tree. Mono to Zombie, like, I just have to, like, bow down in reverence, even as a self-appointed monarch, to this guy, because, like, I wish that they had somebody on the team who was as passionate about every country's focus tree as he is about Portugal, because this is such a good tree, and I can tell that he put, like, so much research and so much love into it, that, like, I never would have really thought about playing as Portugal in Hearts of Iron, and now I'm pretty excited to give it a try. Just because this is such a cool, well thought out tree, with, like, so many cool possibilities of, you know, what you can do with it.
Really messing with history.
I wish every tree was as good as the Portugal and Spain trees coming in this expansion.
Click on any nation, you get something as expansive as that.
Just one change I want is the icons. There's still something off about them. The saturation's a bit too high on some of them. You know, they look.
Like,
just one. That's my one change.
The last image of the tree, there's, like, the Portuguese flag, the Fifth Empire.
Yeah.
That just it just feels very bright and too neon-y and colorful, too Crayola colored for the rest of the tree.
And it's the same with the Kingdom Reunited, I think.
Yes.
Also needs.
Well, it's got
but there's a lot of, like, new ones that look gorgeous. I think the Monarchist Uprising in Brazil, that is perfect. I think the color tone's great on that.
Yeah.
The laurel looks lovely.
I think it's because so many of the classic icons, they kind of their whole color scheme follows, like, this vintage sort of theme. And the newer ones don't feel as vintage. I think they could just, like, turn down the saturation and put, like, a little bit of, like, a sepia filter on them, and they'd probably be fine.
Well, it's odd because it's unique to Portugal, because all the Spanish icons, Spanish icons, look fantastic. They're completely thematic. It's just, I would say, like, a handful of these Portuguese ones could do with a little bit of tweaking. Apart from that,
they're gorgeous.
Like, for example, there's one here which is Join the Carlist Right. I think that's from a Spanish focus tree too, but I would say that's probably one of the coolest new icons, like the flaming heart with, like, you know, wings, and it's a bit like the colors are not too, like, out there, but, you know, it looks like a really nice icon, you know.
Yeah.
As far as icons go, it's pretty good.
Well, they're all gorgeous.
Yes.
Now this is probably just something that bothers me. I should say.
Nope. I think it's a fair point. Any last thoughts about Hearts of Iron 4 before we move on?
Just want to point out that there will be the dev diary on Friday with the patch notes coming.
Yes. And then hopefully the real patch notes will follow not long after that. So,
this is another thing. Sorry, I want to complain more about icons. If you go up a little bit too, there's an icon that is like a man, and I think the framing on that is a little bit wrong. I mean, like it looks a little bit out of place. You see, it's a very bright white guard. It's far left on that one. You see, I think that sort of sticks out like it's a bit too big. There's no framing. There's no shadow behind it. It looks two-dimensional, right? I mean, it looks just sort of a flat thing stuck on it, rather than, like, the other ones that look like a stamp.
There was also an AMA 3 hours ago.
Yeah, I haven't got around to reading everything. I scanned over some of them. We did get confirmation that Victoria 3 is coming out after March of the Eagles 2, though.
Yes.
So we might need to update our guesses on when Victoria 3 comes out.
Got it. Okay, so Stellaris, we got another Q&A dev diary. This time it was about Origins. We got to see how some of the Origins that were previously civics will interact with certain, types of what am I trying to say here? I'm losing my I'll throw it over to you guys. Was there anything that stuck out to you about this dev diary, rather than trying to tread water while I try to think of what I was trying to say there?
I think I just kind of want to say, with the Doomsday Civic, they asked him, are there any novels or movies that inspired it? And the answer was pretty interesting. Pretty much any story with exploding planets, Never Forget Alderaan, but the biggest influence may very well been the contemporary situation with Earth and its climate. And I have seen so much rage and people spitting feathers about this. I'm like, are you having a fucking laugh? Like, calm your tits. Just calm your tits.
Yeah. Calm down.
Yeah, it's not really about the dev diary, but just the response that I seen to that one answer has been like, just grow up.
What a bizarre thing to get angry about, isn't it? This is just odd.
It would be interesting to have like an ecological disaster origin where like you start out on a planet type that your species does not have 100% habitability for.
Oh, I like that.
You have to start out with like, like emergency shelters and stuff, and they're not quite as good as the starter buildings for other species. But then you get some kind of like some sort of other bonus. I guess they don't necessarily need to give you another bonus because they've said origins don't need to be balanced. They can make ones that are just, this is going to make the game harder, and don't pick it if you don't want to make the game harder.
I like that a lot.
That would be interesting. And like if some of your tile blockers were like inundated metropolis or something like that, or Dust Bowl.
Well, even in the ones that they're putting in with like Doomsday, they warn you it's a challenging origin. You are upping the difficulty level of your game by choosing this.
Yeah. I mean, I guess post-apocalyptic kind of fills that niche, but thematically, I feel like they could tweak that to make it, instead of a nuclear war, it was an ecological disaster, and not give you the tomb world habitability, and stuff like that. So, because
as well, for the Doomsday thing, it used to be that it was 64 years is the final value for when your planet goes boom and you got to get the fuck out of there. It's now shorter and random, so that's more fun. I really want to try out Doomsday. That just seems like a lot of awesome fun.
Yeah. Or you could even have it that you start on a world that is beginning to slide into like ecological oblivion.
Oh yeah,
like
if you don't fix it, then it becomes Doomsday.
Yeah, like if you like, you'll randomly have like a district that just gets like wiped out by a tsunami or something like that. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Love it.
They could even make planets like that. Like, you can colonize this planet, but the environment is very unstable, and it's your stuff that you build is not going to be particularly safe.
Is it Gully's planetary modifiers mod that adds something quite similar to that? You can colonize some places, but then, like, after maybe a year of owning it, you get a notification saying, oh, by the way, the star that this planet is orbiting around, it's looking quite unstable. And then like 100 years later, the star explodes and your planet's dead.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. You could even implement some interesting tech choices with that, like faster colonization, but it'll destabilize the planet's ecology more. Whereas if you go with a more sustainable colonization strategy, you can, I don't know. Stellaris is about 300 years long, which is about how long it took us after industrialization for things to start getting bad. So I'm not sure if it would be relevant within the Stellaris time frame, but that would definitely be interesting.
Well, the speed in which we can fuck things up just gets, exponentially faster. So I don't see why not.
You could have less than 35 years.
Yeah. So they showed off some of the stuff like Void Dwellers and Scions, and what they're compatible with, what they're not compatible with. You can't have Agrarian Idyll if you bombed your planet to death.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What I'm interested in trying out is the Lost Colony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one where you have like another species or another civilization of your species that spawns somewhere, right?
They're an advanced empire.
Yeah. Now that would be fantastic.
That would be really cool.
It's very similar to
a huge backstory about that.
Very similar to a scenario that I set up. I made a ton of humanoid. They're all the same portrait. Made a ton of custom empires, the same portrait, same name of the thing, but they all had different civics and ethics. And I made sure that every AI in the galaxy spawned with these custom empires. So every single race in the galaxy was my own, but we all sort of had different ethics and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
So that's kind of like some of those old sci-fi novels where everyone's gone out on slow ships and then they figure out FTL or a faster mode of travel and they all meet back up.
Yeah.
As a 40k nerd, I was doing the Great Crusade. It was, yeah.
That's great. No, what would be really cool is if you could combine that with like the Scion thing. So like have Earth. Yeah, have Earth spawn, like the original Earth spawns as like a fallen empire, and you're a Scion of that, which is also, you're also humans, but then everybody in the galaxy is humans. And your goal is to basically like reunite humanity under the original fallen Earth government, because I don't know, the Hypergate network blew up or something. Like that would be pretty cool.
You're literally describing the Horus Heresy right now.
I am.
This is the Great Crusade. We must reunite all disparate parts of the human empire under the glorious leadership of the one true God Emperor of mankind, who's not a god, he's just a man emperor, the man emperor of mankind.
The man emperor.
The man-emperor, cool, if you will. Who is totally not a god. Don't mind the halo or the godlike powers. He's a man. He's just the best man, but he is still a man. But yeah, it's 40k, basically. It's 40k.
Yeah. Any other things about this Q&A before we move on?
I'm really excited for it. For
I'm really
Federations, I just want to play it.
Now that we know Law Resistance comes out next Tuesday, that Federations will get announced very soon with all these Q&As coming.
Yes. I think, did they have they announced? They did announce the Law Resistance release date, right?
Yeah, it's Tuesday.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
They announced that like a month ago. We mentioned it here on the podcast. Didn't you listen to all the podcasts this weekend?
Yeah, I think you literally just said that. But yeah, I always am trying to like.
It's the eternal curse of a journalist: is you never know what's under NDA or not, and you're constantly worrying about it.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, that's not embargo violating, is it? Okay,
no.
So
I think that's public. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, they made that public.
Imperator Rome. One of the nations that is going to be getting a new mission tree is Syracuse. I'll go ahead and let Lambert say it again.
I mean, it's Syracuse, isn't it?
I thought I was going to say. I was prompting you to say "called it" again because you predicted
No, I mean, yeah, but this one was pretty obvious though. Like,
yeah, it's true.
As far as calling it goes, this one is pretty. It was pretty obvious. Yeah. For a Magna Graecia pack, Syracuse was like the shoe in, or the nose in, and Snow Crystal, stop being mean. My predictions are not
Snow
wrong.
Crystal saying the rest of Lambert's predictions are wrong. So you know.
Well, I mean, he did predict that clicking with the scroll wheel and moving around would be the best one to win.
I didn't actually. I just said it was the best one. I didn't. I accept that this community is full of plebs that don't know what the bloody hell they're talking about.
Yeah, so Syracuse is getting a mission to unite Sicily, which the problem I always have is Carthage is just so much stronger. Like, even if you take over the entire East, like, you're so far behind Carthage in military power, and it looks like they've added some ways to sort of shore that up. like get some revolter states on your side, which is going to be really nice.
And all honestly, I haven't played Syracuse since 1.0. I played it in the big event the PDX did before the game came out, and then I played it again later. And at the time, winning as Syracuse against Carthage wasn't that hard because Carthage would just ferry their troops over in small batches, and you could just murderize them.
Well, that was back when, as soon as the game started, Carthage, who started with, I think, 62 ships, would, without any variance at all, disband the majority of that and go down to like 24 ships.
I don't think they did that in my playthrough. They were also just letting their vassals land at piecemeal as well. And I didn't even have to use boats.
Oh, yeah.
Their ships didn't do anything. Their ships just kind of like hung out in their ports.
We're also going to get the ability to reach out to Magna Graecia proper, to the Italian mainland, both to the Hellenic and Italian powers there. We also are getting a mission tree to overthrow the monarchy and restore the Syracusan Republic.
Which is clearly heresy. Agathocles is I mean, you look at that beard, you cannot say that man does not deserve a goddamn crown.
Oh, yeah.
He rose from nothing. He was a potter, and he became a king who defied empires. This man is deserving of the crown. So with this Republican nonsense.
He's got a great beard, and he grew up baking amphora. Are you saying he's a Harry Potter?
Wait, you cut out. What did you say? I need to know what you said.
I said he grew up making amphora, and he has a great beard. Are you saying he's a Harry Potter?
Oh God!
It's my boy who lived.
That's horrible.
I wish I'd stuck with missing it.
Yeah,
honestly.
you did not need that. Why did you ask, Lambert? Why?
Yeah.
I apologize to everybody in chat and also on Discord. And also in life, I just apologize in general.
Oh, God.
Yeah, SoundCloud, sorry.
iTunes,
I'm really sorry for more than just this, but I'm really sorry.
Spotify, don't forget them.
YouTube, eventually when you get this, sorry too.
Well, we can also shame TJ for not getting this on YouTube too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's you can always do that. So what are you guys most excited about this tree? What sticks out to you?
I mean, being the tyrant of Syracuse is just awesome.
Yeah.
Just I'm looking forward to more mission trees. There's some interesting stuff in this as well. So yes, there is the ability to become a republic, which I'm not going to do because monarchy is best. But
yeah.
I want to see that kind of expanded to more countries as well. The ability to turn republic from a monarchy is now going to be unique to Syracuse. Maybe that could be, expanded a little bit for more countries.
The way to switch between that it would be nice that you can you can set up a revolt or a family really pushes because they want to step back for some reason and become a republic.
Yeah.
Why would you want to go down that path anyway? Why do you want to not be a monarchy? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Because EU4 nations can become republics. I saw England become a republic. If you want to become a republic,
that was weird. I don't think you deserve to have fun. That's what I'm saying.
One thing I do think is incredibly interesting, though, is if you scroll down to where it says Hellenic support, the Seleucids could support your fight against Carthage, and one of your territories could end up producing elephants. I think that's awesome.
Oh my goodness.
That would be fantastic.
Watch out, Carthage. Syracuse gets their own elephants.
Elephant stable. Yeah. So it's not the best elephant place to raise elephants, but you can give it a go. Yeah. I think this is meant so you can't just like spam slaves to get like a ton of elephants to trade or something like that.
Or getting the bonus.
Yeah.
I don't know where Menai is in Italy, but Menai is a place in North Wales, and I'm saying you should start putting
It's Menai Zoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've played Planet Zoo. You just need to plop down a couple of heaters and they'll be fine. So I think Syracuse is a really cool nation because of where on the map they actually start is kind of in the middle of a lot of interesting stuff that's going on. They're small and vulnerable, but they're not like as weak as a typical OPM.
And it's totally possible for you to take and rebuild Alexander's empire with them. I've done it.
Yeah, they have a lot.
Nice flex there.
Hey,
but okay.
The Rose of Sicily is speaking here. So, our thorns are sharp.
They have a path. They have a path to growth that is like kind of smooth in terms of its difficulty curve.
Oh yeah,
where like it gets harder at like a consistent and manageable rate until you become a great power. I think it's one of the more fun countries to play in Imperator. I mean,
the reward for beating Rome is literally getting the best map color in Imperator now. So, I mean, you know, just that purple is just delicious, and the map, the flag, Snow Crystal, I love it. It's really nice. Yeah, Magna Graecia's flag is just.
Color. That's a big one. Oh my! A lovely imperial purple. It's just gorgeous.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
I also something I also forgot to mention. When you start this civil war to turn the country into a filthy republic, the new flag for the Argathocles gets is interesting. That red with the circle of white patterny stuff. I'd love to see that sort of bigger because it's interesting me very much.
Yeah, just that is kind of cool.
Intentionally starting civil wars in your country, though, that could be really interesting if it's expanded a bit.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, Syracuse is going to be a lot of fun. They've also made some changes to holdings that are kind of interesting, where they're always going to belong to a head of family, which I'm not sure how
not
I
always.
Feel about
they
that.
Can be they can be gone to other characters as well. It's not only the head of families, but it's generally going to be the head of families.
Right. And they're making it so that each territory on the map is owned by a character. You can't divide up holdings in rich territories and give them all out to different characters.
Yeah.
Which will definitely cut down on the micromanagement a lot. It's also going to change how I hand out holdings a lot, because usually I try to give out piecemeal holdings, but not too many to any one person within the core area of the capital, so that I can kind of lock down rebel stacks in a place that I know I'm already going to have armies. But with how this works now, I don't necessarily want full provinces around my capital revolting all the time. So I might just go back to handing out, giving upset people holdings way out on the frontier or something. I'm curious how that's going to change the strategic calculus for that sort of a decision.
You do an awful lot more with holdings than I do. My strategy for holdings in the current game is, this guy is disloyal. I'll grant him a holding. Which one? I don't give a fuck. Just have a holding. It's 20 loyalty. That's one. But I always think really long and hard about that, because I'm like, okay, if we are going to have a civil war, where would I want the troops to spawn? Where would I not want them to spawn? Yeah, stuff like that. So. I mean, when I did my dev diary video for this, I opened up a recent game of mine and just looked at how many spare holding slots I had, and the scroll bar was quite long. It's just in the current game, holdings I don't believe are worth handing out. I mean, you get money, but the amount of micro you have to go through to get that money is just too much. So the fact they're changing it to this, where it's something that is so minuscule, like the benefits are so minuscule, but the micro is so high, having that be out of the player's control now is so much better, in my opinion. I like it.
You know what would be interesting? Oh, go ahead, Rose.
Oh, no, I was going to take us in a slightly different direction, so you finish.
Okay, yeah, so what might be interesting, just a thought, if there was some sort of a mechanic, kind of like governing capacity that's being added in EU4, where it's like the number of holdings that the government can manage has some kind of a soft cap that maybe goes up with your civilization level. So as you become a more advanced civilization, you can manage more public land. So there's some extra incentive to give out holdings to powerful characters, so they take care of the taxes, tax collection and stuff, and you don't have to worry about it. And maybe it would have an impact on your tax income if you go over that soft cap. That could be an interesting mechanic.
Well, if you're a monarchy, your king is already ahead of a family, so one would assume that he already has a huge amount of holdings. Maybe those holdings could be around your capital. Who knows? Yeah. But yeah, I like the new system. Especially it's cleaner, the way that the holdings are laid out. The new map mode it's going to lead to more interesting civil wars if they fire. So yeah, I'm in favor of it.
Okay, cool.
I think some of Arheo's answers later in the dev diary could answer some of these thoughts and questions. Of course, we always forget to show the dev responses.
Yeah, I don't always read the dev responses, but let's see. The state does not inherently own all property within. Okay, so I get where they're going with that. So
you just give someone the money to go buy a holding when you're giving them a holding.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, we're not exactly in the era of centralized bureaucracy, at least not in this part of the world.
No.
I was going to say.
No, Christoph, yeah. I don't agree with you there, actually. Just as an aside, I don't think that you're right on that one.
Which dev response was he talking about?
We don't. I'm sick. I've got the flu. I'm sick.
Yeah, so let me see. Where is let's go to show all posts here. Is it on the first page?
It's on the third.
It's on the third. Oh, he already knows. He already knows where it is.
Humble Potter saw something was wrong.
Oh, come on.
It's down about 3/4 of the way down.
Super zoomed in.
Control Zero will fix it.
Toss a coin to your tyrants.
A bunch of wrong stuff. Where our friend Lambert here turned this joke dev response into an entire parody song of Toss a Coin to Your Witcher about
a quick reminder,
Syracuse.
I'm sick. I was also sick when I wrote that.
That's fine.
Deep in like a very deep fever.
This just tells me that I was right to ask you to be on this show, because this is the kind of dedication to writing parody songs of popular science fiction and fantasy television that are based on the games we all love is so 100% on brand that I think that
not last Christmas, but the Christmas before, I turned Queen's Thank God It's Christmas song into one called We Know the Worm Loves Us.
Oh, yes. We did Stellaris
and I
Carols.
did sing that one, and it's on my YouTube channel. So if you want to hear my absolutely fuck awful singing voice,
I thought your wife sang
Lambert 209. Yeah,
my
wife sang it as well. She covered up my awful singing, but you can still hear.
Let's see.
Oh god, it's the second one. It's right there. It's right there. It's the middle one.
This one
the
right
middle
there.
one. No, you see, it's right there in the videos.
You can't. Oh fuck.
I don't know if it'll even play through the podcast, right? But like,
it won't. Yes.
Yeah, there we are. Fantastic.
They can't hear it. Okay. Well, you're gonna have to listen to that yourself. So.
Yeah, you have to listen to it through your own time.
Yeah, I also have on the Loresworn Order Twitch channel, I did a live version of the parody of I Can't Stop This Feeling that I wrote and performed at karaoke on stage at PDXCon 2018, which was I Can't Stop This Feeling That You'll Make Victoria 3. Yeah, that's still available on my channel too. So
beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's I think that I'm a fan of this.
I still need to watch for sure. I haven't played The Witcher even. Right? I mean, and I've heard it's got like great Welsh representation, which is very rare. Apparently, I've been told by a friend, if you hear someone with a Welsh accent, you know they're evil in The Witcher. That's like the rule. And apart from Witcher, we don't have anything else. We've got Drippy, High Lord of the Fairies, which is on some like Japanese game, but that's about it. Yeah. I mean, if you haven't seen Drippy, High Lord of the Fairies, Google it. It's hilarious. There's a guy with a very thick Valleys accent playing like a sort of weird bumbling fairy creature. It's amazing. It's great.
I mean, technically, like every King Arthur movie, he should have like a Welsh or a Cornish accent.
Yeah, but for some reason, all have English accents.
Yeah, what's up with that? Apparently they all buy into the Guy Halsall theory that Arthur was a Saxon, but I'm not necessarily sold on that.
Arthur was a Roman. Yeah, I'm with that one, to be honest.
There's actually a series
I
read
Roman
once
centurion
where it was set as, Rome was pulling out and they forged Excalibur, and it was all very based in the real world with the mixing cultures. It was really
there was the
Last Legion. That's it. I remember that book series. It was fucking awesome. Connie Golden. That was the author.
There was
there was a movie
Clive
apparently
Butler
in 2007.
Movie too. Yeah. Yeah, that version of the movie, Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table are Sarmatian mercenaries who stay behind after the Roman army withdraws to protect Roman Britain.
Well, that's what Welsh is. The Welsh is essentially the Roman Britons, basically.
Right. Yeah. So it was like
the true Romans, with true heirs to Rome.
So now I'm never going to be able to play Rome in Imperator anymore without thinking of my guys having a Welsh accent. That's going to make this game really hilarious.
Apparently there was some linguistic connection that's now been debunked where someone thought Arthur might have been like a weird mutation of like a Sarmatian name. And they're like, oh, it makes sense. They were good at horses and knights and shit.
But the Welsh aren't good at horses, are they? They're good at sheep.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, got it again.
Nice.
Two sheep jokes in one podcast. Do you feel attacked from listeners?
Yeah. It's often missed that when the Romans originally invaded Celtic Britain, they drove to extinction the ancient Brythonic war sheep, which they used to ride into battle.
Yeah. It's a different use of the word ride here, I think.
Movie. Riding a bloody goat.
Oh my god, don't remind me of that.
Pat Adams in chat says, because Romans had no cavalry facepalm. Actually, a lot of the Roman cavalry usually was made up of allies.
It's like
it was not made up.
Yeah.
I mean, they were Roman, but they were generally not from like the Italian core. A lot of them were from Campania, so they were Italian,
Depends how which Roman you're talking about. Imperial Rome was when they started using the cataphractoi, then they were Roman cavalry quite a lot.
True. Yeah, Rome does, span a very long time period, so any statement you make about Rome, you have to say, like, what chronological and geographical area of Rome are we talking about?
Where was the capital at the time?
That's basically what you have to think of.
You have to say.
Anyway, any last thoughts about Imperator before we move on out for the day?
This won't be the only thing in the DLC. I've seen quite a few people thinking that only Syracuse's mission tree is going to be a part of the DLC. And I've facepalmed so hard. You can't be this stupid. Yeah, there's going to be more. And Snow Crystal confirmed it earlier in chat that that's not all that's going to be in the DLC. So I mean, like just
there's going to be more stuff. Yeah. It's just all they've told us so far.
Yeah, I mean, beggars belief that it has to be said.
It looks like Alfrey and Katsurin and Valorgain don't want to let us off the hook. Before, they don't want to let us go without singing this song.
Oh my god!
Before we do that,
I think we got to do it right.
Before we do that,
we got to do it right. Okay.
In honor of the fact that CK3 has been announcing all of the focus trees, and I believe we only have one left, right? Unless my pregnancy brain is miscounting.
We just there's only one left.
I think so. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we only have one left. So before we hit that up next week, we do have a poll for you guys on what's your favorite foci in CK2.
Oh, so far, I guess.
Yeah, well, in CK2.
Yeah.
So what do you use
CK2,
the Yeah.
The old ones. Out of the old ones, yeah.
There's the vote, and it's going up on our Twitter as well.
Yeah. So no CB cast on Twitter. If you're listening to this later, you can find.
I know what mine is. It's the economic one. Because you get that event where you get two wonderful events, right? You get to have a minting coin one where you get to do you basically have to debase your own currency. Great, fantastic. I'm all about that. And also you get to run a pub where you have to salt up the water. I think that's quite an old event, right? Where you're building up your stewardship and you have to put more salt in the food so people are thirsty. Yeah. You can water down the beer and you can. I love it.
Yeah. And I also really like the trade route event where you go visit some noble's court and one of your attendants who came with you gets canceled because he commits a cultural faux pas.
He's eating like a mess. Which is kind of relatable because I think I've spent half this podcast trying to quietly eat a tomato. And I don't know if it's come out on map, but normally, right? I eat stuff like Denethor eats things, right? I basically splashing stuff all around the place, right? Just popping tomatoes and stuff. So I've been quietly trying to peel away the skin of this tomato. I hope it hasn't picked up at all. Slowly shaving it away. Yeah.
Well, because there's so many great ones, I did set it up so you can put them in order of your favorite.
Yeah,
right.
That's nice.
We are using a ranked choice voting system, which all proper democracies should.
Yes.
Just
agreed.
Saying.
Exactly.
As a Brit, agreed.
Yeah. So check out that poll. Do we want to? Let's close with the song. So let's say, Rose,
the song is going to be sang and recorded and done real nice for patrons only.
Yeah. There we are. That's perfect.
See, now I feel like we have to get an actual lute involved. One of us is going to have to learn how to play the lute.
Just beatbox.
No, Father Lawrence, he's she'll be able to do it, won't it? Is that not something you're born to do?
Yeah, I mean, my house is rife with lutes and nothing but lutes.
All right. Well, how about this? Well, we can sing the first verse, and then we'll eventually do a full version and release it for patrons. How does that sound?
First verse and one chorus.
I think just the chorus.
How would you do the chorus?
Oh, that's the hard part, though.
I promise we can't sync it up.
I mean, you're just gonna not do the word. I'm sick.
I don't know the tune either, if I'm honest. I haven't seen the show. I haven't played the game. Completely in the dark here.
These mic settings are also set up for vote like spoken words, so I'm sure it's gonna spike the shit.
I tell you what, let's all record our individual ones, and we can have a vote on which one's the best one.
All right, I'm gonna start singing the first verse, and you guys can just join in when you feel like it. All right. So, but first, let's go ahead and do. Rose, what have you been up to, and where can people find your stuff?
Here on Twitch, Enigmatic Rose 4, and I'm on an EU4 kick where we're trying to form Italy as Genoa and failing miserably because the Pope hates us.
Yeah. That's a common problem when you're playing anywhere in Italy and trying to get anything done.
Well, he loves Milan, and he hates us. It's very sad.
Oh, man. That's a double standard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not down with that.
And people keep letting him control himself, so he keeps excommunicating us. You can't let the Pope control himself, guys.
Man. You can't give people autonomy. What do I always say? Lambert, what have you been up to and where can people find your stuff?
Lambert2191 on YouTube and on DLive. I've been doing a lot of Imperator as per usual, doing the dev diaries as well for Imperator and CK3. And just more of the same, really.
Yeah. Same old.
And writing really bad, songs.
I think it's glorious.
It's gonna bite me right in the ass.
So. Oh yeah. Well, that's working as intended, I think. Loris, I think you said you've been working on secret stuff. Is there anything you can talk about that you've been working on?
I think it's just, I can mention, but I'm working on stuff for Anno and Humankind and the DLs. I don't think I'm allowed to talk about.
Gotcha. And where can people find your stuff?
Chapelcomic.com.
Yeah.
It's the best place. Twitter, a bit on Reddit too. Yeah. Just Google Chapel Comic. It's plenty out there somewhere.
Nice. I am AsaTJ on Twitter. That's ASATJ. I write reviews for some websites like PC Gamer and IGN. And I'm also on a podcast called 3 Moves Ahead that we just did an episode about the Mandate of Heaven expansion for Total War 3 Kingdoms. Somebody sent us an email to the NoCB email account about a Total War question. And that's not our main focus, but we might talk some Total War at some point here and there.
I love Total War.
Means I have to actually play it and make people happy, huh?
I played Total War today, actually.
I think that's a good another good thing for like if we do patron bonus episodes. We could do one about Humankind, or we could do one about Total War or Planetfall, which just got a huge update, by the way. You should definitely give that a look.
Tyrannosaurus updates.
Played it in a while. Lots of cool improvements.
It's got played by email, which is just a godsend.
Yes.
Well, yeah, for you on your Welsh internet, of course.
Well, it's great because, when you get to my cripplingly old age, all your friends are have proper jobs, and you're stuck with my nonsense one. But they're too busy to play video games with you. But play by email is wonderful because if you play it on your own time, you just pass it around. It's lovely.
Oh yeah, Alfred and Agamade want me to plug that. I guess I'm officially a game developer now because I wrote a short text RPG in Twine, which you can also find on my Twitter. First part of a larger project that I'm working on. So if you like text-based RPGs, give it a look. There's no graphics and no music, but the writing's pretty good, if I do say so myself. So
I can say so as well. I quite enjoyed the writing.
Well, thank you. It's kind of based on the Crusades, but there's fairies in it. It's good stuff.
So just normal Crusades then.
Check that out. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Where can I find that, DJ?
It's on my Twitter. Let's see. I'll also post the link in chat for everybody who's here right now. So if you guys want to stall for like 5 to 10 seconds.
Here's me stalling.
Okay, that's it. You just download it. It's a Twine game, so it's just an HTML file. You can play it in any browser. You can play it on your phone.
It's www.drive.google.com. I'm going to go through all of that.
/1QB2WOYB1C. Yeah. No, just find it on my Twitter. I'll make a bit.ly link or something.
Cool.
All right. So before we go, we'll give you one verse of this song, or because it's been demanded of us. Does everybody have the lyrics pulled up?
Yeah.
I don't have a tune.
I'll start us off. All right. So. Jesus. When the humble potter saw something was wrong, Agathocles of Syracuse. I think the delay is going to make this difficult. For when the potter fought a corrupt republic that could not defend against the bastard eunuchs. It's a little bit. The meter could use some work. That's my one constructive criticism. They came after him with masterful deceit. With an army of mercs, the oligarchs he beat. Upon his head he placed a crown that made him king, and so cried Syracuse, he'll suffer no sting. All right, that's all you're getting.
It's very good.
You got a pretty good voice there, TJ.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you haven't seen TJ sing karaoke at ParadoxCon, it's worth a look. Very good.
Snow Crystal is saying, why is he good at singing? I was here for some atrocious shit show. Now I'm disappointed.
Well, I mean, Lambert and I can sing it, and then you get that.
I'm sorry.
I'll do the chorus for you. Then you can see how shit my voice is.
Give us the chorus, and then the rest will be for patrons.
Stage shy now. Okay.
Lambert.
That's not helping. I've now forgotten how the fucking tune goes.
Toss a coin to your tyrants.
Oh, horn of plenty. Oh, horn of plenty. Oh, toss a coin to your tyrant. Oh, horn of plenty. Oh, horn of plenty. And that's all you get.
That's pretty damn good. That was pretty damn good.
I'm sick.
You're not.
I've got tears rolling down my face.
You're not nearly bad enough to satisfy Snow Crystal's desire for a shit show. So
we need to get.
We're all disappointments today.
We need to get Jesse Henning, because I don't know if you've heard that man sing.
Jesse's fantastic.
Oh yeah,
he's got the voice of an angel.
He's great.
He does.
Get that man.
Him singing Queen, "Don't Stop Me Now" at PDXCon was just. I mean, it's Queen, so I'm going to sing regardless of who's singing with it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was great. Loved it.
Yeah, really good. Beautiful voice.
All right.
You can check him out on Twitch. I'm going to plug his Twitch, because he does Twitch Sings, and is it Twitch Sings?
What is his... I always just find it from his Twitter. What is his actual Twitch name? Twitch...
LeJerk, isn't it?
LeJerk, that's it.
That's it, yeah.
He also does a lot of streaming for Extra Life, which is a very cool charity way to turn your streams into money for good causes. So yeah, LeJerque. He's one of my favorite Paradox employees. You should definitely check him out.
Lovely bug.
I will pick favorites publicly on the podcast. I don't have any qualms about that. You can find us at NoCBcast pretty much everywhere. Twitch, SoundCloud. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes.
YouTube
Someday
eventually.
We'll be on YouTube when I get off my butt. Yeah, that's going to become like the running joke of the podcast.
that and setting up a Patreon at some point.
Yeah. And until next week, same time, we'll be here. Every Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Which would be 9:30 p.m. for Central Europeans.
Right. And then everywhere else, some point on the following day, depending on how quickly I get it edited. And thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
See you later.